People believe that surgery is a major life decision. Making a decision involves weighing in the pros and cons, gathering information, maybe consulting with a friend or colleague or doctor, and some people will use their gut instincts to make that decision for them. Many people make major life decisions, such as buying a home, becoming a parent. So there's a variety of ways that people can make a decision.
Well, when we think about the journey of surgery, it's important for us to connect to major life events that has happened and the impact it will create. Surgery is not similar to everything, but there's something that happens when you're having surgery or when you've had surgery. Is it something that will benefit you? How will it show up in your space? So saying yes, you have to understand that this is a transformation in your life.
What someone considers to be a large decision is really kind of up to them. I know for me, when I was considering surgery, certainly at a certain point I was like, oh my God, this is the biggest thing of my life. But once I kind of boiled the point down, and really kind of did the work to think about what it meant for me and my life, it was a no-brainer, and it had always been a no-brainer. And once I realized that it was the best choice for me and then there was not really any other option, it became really simple. But in order to kind of be prepared for all of the little pitfalls and things that you kind of consider, you do need to make a comparison to something else. So, if you've ever bought a car, or you need to decide where to go to college, or if you should marry that person or not, or move in with that roommate, or, anything like, should you buy those $200 pair of shoes? Maybe not, who knows? But how is it going to improve your life? Any way that you've made a big decision in your life, how do you do that and then do it that way? And it's usually a best practice for that person, and it's how I do it, yeah.
So my experience in taking care of folks who are seeking surgery has been that they want surgery is the right thing for them, and the questions that come up are less about whether or not surgery is the right thing and more about whether or not the timing is right and whether or not they're fully prepared to undergo surgery.
I don't know that you can ever adequately prepare yourself really for surgery if you've never had surgery before. You don't really kind of know what you're getting into. But that's why just kind of being as prepared as possible and to deal with whatever might come up, and then having that positive attitude is huge.
A person is ready for surgery when they know what they want, that they're sure that they want surgery, that they're ready for surgery. This could entail having thought about the pros and cons of surgery, what kind of surgery that they want, do they have the resources, have they addressed financial concerns, social concerns, and medical concerns.
If your goal is surgery and none of your friends have had surgery before, you haven't had a procedure, even like your wisdom teeth removed, we have to really talk about how are you going to take care of yourself throughout this experience and also after, throughout the rest of your life. Because, you're getting surgery, it's like one moment, and then you get to live the whole rest of your life having had this surgery with a new body and growing ever more in a closer relationship with yourself, right?
It's really important to have a conversation with a knowledgeable medical provider before you even have a consultation with a surgeon. It's important to make a list of priorities around what's important to you. What are the most important parts of having surgery? What are the most important parts of the results?
Even though you've been divorced essentially from whatever part of your body for a really long time, and you know that maybe it doesn't belong to you, or something else needs to be there, whether it's breast augmentation or breast tissue removal and chest masculinization or something else, you need to know what that means. Surgeons really want to know that you know what that means. Any of your providers, your mental health provider, your medical providers, your PCPs, your doctors, they all need to know that you know what that means. If you're unable to prove that you're able to know what that means, then it's going to be really difficult for you to get the procedure, period.
There was a period of time where trans people weren't able to access surgery. And the people that were able to access surgery were sort of the most privileged among us, either because they had extra financial resources or just incredible internal resources to like fight and save for so long to put together what they needed to have to access surgery. And now that surgery and trans and gender non-binary care in general is being treated as any other health condition, it's really opening up access for people. But at the same time, we don't have as many examples of other trans people or non-binary people in our community who have gone through surgery. And so, while it is something that a lot of us want and are thinking about or have decided we need to move forward with our lives, it's also tough to make these kinds of decisions and know what to plan for when, historically, our communities haven't had access.
You want to be as best prepared as possible for any outcome, and whether that's a favorable outcome, something that's really great, that you really like the results, to something that might be more complex, like a complication, a revision that you might need to do. Those are all things that are going to be important for your education, so that you're as best prepared as possible, because you want to also be able to manage your expectations and know what's realistic. So, knowing what the outcomes could look like, the good, the bad, and the ugly, is going to be super important when you're going in for your initial consults, when you're visiting with your doctor to talk about it for the first time, when you're talking with friends, especially when you're looking for information online, because there's a lot of great information online, but there's a lot of misinformation online as well. All these Facebook groups and everything, people ask lots of questions and people have a lot of opinions and a lot of different experiences. So not everyone's going to have the same experience. A lot of this really depends on not just your genetics and those kinds of things, but like how you are able to take care of yourself, who's around you, your stress level, all of those things really kind of come into play. So, I think the better prepared you are, the better your outcomes really are going to be.
A lot of people are very resilient and have been able to get through a lot, up against a lot. And the problem with surgery is that it really isn't something that you can do alone. And so personal resilience can be helpful if there's a bad outcome, but it really takes more than just the patient to have a successful surgical procedure. So building that support network is key to being able to have a successful surgery. And it's different than the ways that, so many trans people get to where they are in spite of so many things. And it's just hard to have surgery in spite of a lack of support. And so it's really difficult.
Making a decision about surgery can be stressful. The journey is stressful, but the outcome can be very beautiful. So during this time, coping skills are a helpful tool to also start using. Coping skills is defined as the thing that helps you to deal or help you push through a certain process or time in your journey. When we say coping skill, we really want to be clear that coping skills are healthy coping skills, right? Sometimes folks get in this indecisive stage. Do I do it? Do I not do it? That's why evaluating the pros and the cons of this journey and making sure that you have your support system around you is very important. That also includes evaluating your coping skills.
It's a weird process because I think a lot of people get caught up of the during and never the before and the after. So there needs to be like a complete picture. It's not like you plateau one day and you've reached the mountaintop and that's it and you're good to go and your whole life is together. It's not really how life is, right? So when we're talking about coping, we need to talk about your whole entire life, not just that surgery. So you need to think of it in alignment with everything else, and that's gonna help you kind of break it down from this kind of, there's like a saying around like, look at the tree, not the forest, something to that degree, so that you don't get, again, overwhelmed by the, how complex things can be. You just want to take it one little thing at a time. And so for me, anytime I'm making a big change in my life or I need to make a hard decision, I try to, again, take some steps back and look at each step that I need to take in order to get to that goal.
Many patients who are prepared will have coping skills like yoga, exercising, having someone to talk to.
Breathing techniques, mindful breathing techniques, being still, meditation, right? Also, organization skill. How are you organizing, right? Are you taking walks? How are you getting grounded with yourself? What are the things that releases your stress level? Really think about the tools that you need when we're thinking about coping. Sometimes folks may like to eat. Is that actually healthy? Will it create other impacts, right? So evaluate coping skills. Some people like to shop a lot. Is that great for you financially, right? Sometimes there's substance use involved. Will that create other impacts? So evaluate what are the healthiest coping skills that you can take to support you on this journey to your surgery.
It is important to help people find moments in their life when they've actually been resilient, right? So like really focusing on the strengths that people have, the fact that you showed up today, that you demand what you need. I think that, you do need to be an advocate, and you do need to know what you need, and you need to know what your rights are, and you need to know how the policy works and what the law really means. There's a big responsibility to be transgender. It's really expensive, it's really time consuming, it's stressful. It's also wonderful, and it's also, if you have, most of the things kind of in place to make it as successful as possible, whatever that is for you, the better off you're gonna be. And so I think you wanna lean in on the people in your life, and that is actually a strength, actually, is like if you have people in your life and you're willing to ask them for help. Being able to be vulnerable is actually a skill, and is actually very difficult to kind of overcome. So if you're able to overcome being vulnerable with people, then that's a skill in and of itself. That gets you really far.
It's also important to recognize when it's not the right time to have surgery. If you don't have a good support system, if you don't have a safe place to recover, if you're not going to be able to take the time off from work, then it might not be the right time for surgery. And, if surgery is a goal, then it's something that you have to work towards. So putting the systems in place in order to have stable housing and folks to take care of you and the cushion that you might need financially in order to have surgery are all important things to have in place. And if they're not in place, it might mean that there's more work to do before surgery happens.
So that's why it's important to really think about the readiness, preparedness, and what people will do for support also is important.
Because you're not only just saying yes, but you're trusting doctors to show up in the space for you. You're trusting nurses. You also have to understand there's time to recover. So this is a journey of transformation. It will forever change the way how you look at life, how you are in tune with your body, and how you have to continue to heal your body through the process and moving forward and beyond.